I would like to welcome you to the upper echelon. I want you to be honest and don't you lie. Don't you think of lying. Be for real. You're not a Bad Crawford fan. You just hate Spence, right? Hate it or love it, the underdog's on top. What's good, fight fans? This video's about Big Bad Bad Crawford. Yes, I know y'all been sitting here waiting for it. Bad Crawford is undoubtedly one of the best boxers alive right now. That's why he's pound for pound number one, number two. Clearly, there's no arguments about that. And Spence and him make up the biggest fight in the last 40 years. People think Bad Crawford is crazy or he's just talking when he says he's going to go toe-to-toe with Spence. No. Bud has one of the highest boxing IQs of anyone in the game right now. And Bad Crawford is a dog. Bad Crawford is an alpha. And Bad Crawford is the type of guy that you cannot tell what he can and cannot do, because he will prove you wrong time and time again. Him and Spence both. That's why this fight is so historical, so monumental, so earth-shattering, earth-shaking, so amazing. That's just the only thing we can say about the fight is it's amazing. And people use the word amazing and not realizing what amazing really means. Like, this is something that has you in awe and amazed, like blows your mind. And that's what type of fight this is. The fight that's gonna blow your mind. What is the only way to stop an unstoppable force? Is you don't let it get started. That's how you do it. And if Bud comes out and fight Earl Spence any other way, it's gonna be a short night and a lot of pain. But Bud, with his IQ, has fathomed the problem, and he has come up with the solution. The problem is Earl Spence, and that is a monumental problem, a juggernaut of a problem, an unsolvable problem like Mission Impossible. But Bud said he's Tom Cruise, and he said this ain't part one, it ain't part two, and it's part three, and he's ready to damn close the series out. And Bud knows he can't box with Earl on the outside. He knows this because Earl has one of the most prolific and monumental jabs in all of boxing. Earl can control the distance with a jab the whole fight, which he's done in previous occasions on Danny and Mikey Garcia, the moot points. But Bud, when he fought a taller fighter like Kell Brooks, in the first 2 rounds, Kell Brooks had Bud's eye looking like he's been beat up real bad. And Bud can get that done by Kell Brooks. Earl's gonna take that eye, because Earl is not called the eye catcher for no reason. So Bud knows that, and he puts that in his bank. But one thing Bud remembers when he say, I remember something. When we look at all of Earl's fights, the closest fight that he had was with who? Yes, Showtime Sean Porter. And the reason was him and Earl was in that down and dirty the whole night. And Bud thinks, and Bud knows that he's a much stronger individual than Sean Porter. He knows he's much stronger, much athletically gifted, much smarter, much swifter, more athletic. I said that before, but let me say it again. Athletic. And he know he hits a whole lot harder than Sean Porter. And he know he has more dog than Sean Porter. But Sean Porter is arguably the biggest dog in the game, because Sean Porter has been in wars. And he's only been stopped one time, and that's with the help of Kenny Porter. But we're not going to take that away from Terrence Crawford, because it was a great stoppage. But Terrence Crawford, being the alpha male that he is, he figures if you can do anything, I can do it better. And he knows that he is the dog. It ain't about the size of the dog, but the size of the fight that's in the dog. And he knows, and he is prepared to go into this fight, life or death. Did you get it? Like Earl said, it's life or death. We putting it all on the line. We gonna make this fight the fight of the ages, the fight that's talked about. It's man versus man, monster versus monster, machine versus machine, alpha and omega, the beginning and the end. We got 2 undefeated monster fighters who are both respectively boogeymen in their own rights, going up against each other. Although I love them both because I'm a fan of boxing, and I'm a fan of good boxing. Like Highlander said, there can only be one. So at the end of this war, this Armageddon, of this clash of titans, there's only going to be one when the smoke and dust settles. And Terrence Crawford feels that the best way that he be the one standing is to go toe to toe, mano a mano. He wants to get in there with Earl, and he's going to let the leather fly from the word go. That's why he's going 20 miles a day. That's why he's going on snack. That's why he's building his endurance up into the limit, because he knows this is the fight of his life. And Earl knows that as well. Both of these men know that this is the biggest fight in their careers. There is nobody else out there that's going to make a fight like this. This is where all the pain, sweat, blood, and tears comes down to this one moment right here. You get one shot at greatness, and if you don't do what you're supposed to do with your time of greatness, then you just wasted your whole life. You wasted your whole career. You gotta are you gonna let it go? Or are you gonna take somebody else's And if you win, will you be the greatest of all times? Or will you be number one pound for pound throughout? Will you be undisputed? Will you be the best there is, best there was, and best that ever will be at the welterweight division? We will decide this come fight night. And Terrence Crawford said, I'm going to get in there. I'm going to give it to him. They say it's like Leonard versus Hitman Hearns. No, this fight is not going to be like that. It's going to be Hagler versus Hearns, because these are two grown men, animals, going to go in there and they're going to let it all fly for however long this fight lasts. Yes, IQ will come into place, power will come into place, but it's going to be all about the heart. And both of these men have amazing hearts. Bud Crawford shot in the head, and he's still out here fighting. A bullet couldn't stop this man. Earl Spence thrown from a Ferrari going over 100 miles an hour. The pavement couldn't stop these men. Both of these men are undefeated in and outside the ring. No man has took these boys down, and no machine or weapon formed against them has prospered versus these guys. When you go at somebody, you don't go at their weakness, because they expecting that you attack an enemy at his strengths, because his strengths will be less guarded, because he know who will come at my strength. So Crawford is going to go in there and attack Earl's strength. He's going to have his motor ready and revving so they can too go back and forth, throwing leather and lumber like him and Sean Porter did until one falls. But one thing about it this time, it's not going to make it to the 11th round. Both of these fighters are too strong, too powerful, and too skilled for it to go to the 11th round. And there's one big difference that Crawford might not have factored in there. Yes, versus Sean Porter, Earl didn't have strength and conditioning. So yes, strength and conditioning will be a factor. Earl is like the Terminator on strength and conditioning, but we're not taking nothing away from Bud, because Bud is a Terminator too. But I will tell you this, and I will let this go right here. It's gonna be all good at the beginning, but when them body shots and that power start accumulating and the damage start fluctuating and start sitting in and mitigating into the body and the ranges, I'm gonna tell you this right here. Both fighters know they better have got as much money as they could before they took this fight, because this is one of them fights that take away years off a boxer. Whether they win or lose, the punishment that they accumulate and they take will take away a lot of boxing years. So Crawford, I see you trying to get as much money as you want. You need to go ahead, because who's to tell you what your body is worth? And Earl, you know where you're at, so y'all do what y'all gotta do. I'm not complaining about Crawford trying to outprice himself, because this is his body, his health, his livelihood on the line. And Bud, shouts out to you for being a man and wanting to go toe to toe. But that's the only way you can do this fight, because any other way, people slept on Spence but don't realize he has the skills to pay the bills, and he can fight any other way. But the best fight for you and Spence will be on the inside. So that's my take right there. Everybody pay attention to the way I'm talking about. You will understand this as well. Shout out, Upper Echelon out.